How's everyone doing? Today I have an awesome-tastic haul. 14 Blu-rays, all from Twilight time. And if you've seen any of these movies, definitely let me know what you think of them. And Twilight Time is a company that releases Blu-rays, usually limited to 3,000 copies, sometimes a little bit more. So they're a little bit more expensive than your standard new release Blu-ray, but I think it's worth it because, again, a lot of times they're the only way to get these particular movies, and they have some really great titles that they've released, and they're usually limited to 3,000 units, and I love the job that they do as far as the packaging, the clear case, the artwork, and then you have a booklet, you have disc artwork, you have interior artwork as well. So again, for collectors, for physical media, which is what drives the market for it, for these kind of things, which I think, it's right up everybody's alley for collectors. So, and I do think that this is going to be the future of physical media. I don't think physical media for movies are ever going to go away. I think it's just going to be limited to like how this is for 3,000 copies right here. It says right there. I don't know if that can pick it up on there, but I think for for companies like this, Code Red, a few other ones, they have limited ones. They're a little bit more money, but that's why it's limited. But for companies like Lionsgate, Warner Brothers, Universal, Sony, they'll have limited runs, but it's going to be way more. Maybe it'll be 100,000, something like that. It's funny because back in the day, like Anchor Bay would put out a limited edition, collector's edition, whatever the heck it was, and it'd be like 100,000, and I'm like, that's not really. Back in the day, everything was so overly mass produced. It seemed like it, but now looking back, it's like that's not limited at all. But let's go ahead and get into it. I have out of this big stack of 14 titles right here, I've only seen a couple of them. I think three. I believe three, and it's been a long time. So a lot of these ones were blind pickups, and I'm looking forward to checking them all out and revisiting the ones that I have seen. But let's go ahead and get into it. First up is Beneath the 12-Mile Reef. I have wanted to see this one for a while. I've seen clips of it. The underwater shots looked fascinating and amazing. That's what really drew me into it. I really didn't even care about the story, the plot line. I was like, I just want to see more of that. This is one of the earliest Cinescope pictures. I guess it's kind of a Hatfield McCoy. They used the Romeo Juliet analogy on the back, but it's two different rival families who are sponge diving families, and they have a boy on one side, Robert Wagner, and then a girl on the other side, Terry Moore, and they of course fall for each other while the families are kind of feuding. But there's all these kinds of beautiful underwater shots, and there's apparently a scene with Robert Wagner scraping with an octopus. One of the things I too like about this, they always have blurbs, like all the different releases have blurbs, but a lot of times it's from blurbs of people you've never heard of. But here they have some of the greatest movie critics of all time, putting blurbs on there, so it's not just like some random weird thing you've never heard of before. But yeah, I am definitely excited to check this one out. I've seen the clips, and again, I love that they have the booklets in here. And again, I already showed you the interior artwork and the disc artwork, but I love all those added touches. If you're, a physical media collector for Blu-rays, this is definitely a great company to check out. Like I said, a lot of times they're a little bit more expensive, but I've been waiting for the sales, and they have had some amazing sales recently, especially when they get to the lower stock of certain releases. Like, they put the prices down way low. And a lot of times too, especially for popular titles, especially for horror, these sell out and people try to flip them on eBay for like ridiculous prices. So whenever there's like a horror title or a title that I know is going to be really popular, I try to make sure to get it as soon as possible. I remember it was Fright Night, which I think they re-released, and then there's a couple other ones too, The Blob, and there's a few other ones, but they sold out like right away, and it was just ridiculous to see the prices people were asking for it on eBay. Next up is Husband and Wives. This is from Woody Allen, so you kind of know what you're getting yourself into with a Woody Allen film. There's going to be lots of relationship woes and complaining and crotchety-esque performance from Woody Allen in here, I'm sure. I haven't seen this one. Let me know what your favorite Woody Allen movie is. Annie Hall was like the first Woody Allen movie I ever saw, and probably still my favorite. Although, he's had some really good recent ones too. So he's come back full force as far as directing wise. But this is basically about two couples. One is breaking up while the other one is, you know, kind of surprised at it. But then they suddenly start to fall apart themselves. Stars Sidney Pollack, Judy Davis, Mia Farrow, and then Woody Allen. It also has, and it's shot by Carlo Di Palma, who's done a lot of work with Woody Allen, and also features Juliette Lewis and Liam Neeson in here. So old school Liam Neeson. And this is from 1992. Again, you got the booklet in here. All kinds of stuff. I love the booklets. If you're a fan of the film, you get behind the scenes information and photos, write-ups sometimes from critics and film historians and things like that. I absolutely love it. A few companies do that. Arrow Video, Criterion Collection. There's a couple other companies, but I wish more companies would do that, especially for the price points for some of them out there. Again, for the collector market, you know, we are the driving force, you know, so give us something, especially if it's not like a main, if it's obviously like, you know, a superhero comic book movie, not necessarily, but for like an older film, a cult film, something like that, you know, people usually love to hear the history about it and go really in depth. For all those mainstream ones, there's just so much information already out there, so it's kind of harder to really, you know, dig in deeper once you've already, the surface has been scratched so much. Next up is The Man in the Moon. This is the, I guess, is this the film debut? Yeah, it's the film debut of Reese Witherspoon. Yeah, this is also has Jason London in here, and I don't know what happened to him. I'm not sure. I can't remember if it was him or somebody else. I remember hearing, I don't know if it was drug or alcohol issues, and then he has a brother too. But yeah, somebody, I don't know, but whatever happened to him or whoever that was that I'm thinking of, I wish them the best for sure. But this is directed by Robert Mulligan, who directed To Kill a Mockingbird, and it's a drama in a small southern town, and it's focusing on two sisters, Reese Witherspoon and then Emily Warfield, and the mother is played by Tess Harper, and the father by Sam Waterston, the great Sam Waterston. And I guess it's basically about Jason London arriving and kind of mixing everything up with some romance aspect. So yeah, Roger Ebert has a blurb on here. The whole, you know, that's one of the things I love to see. You know, actual movie critics that I'm familiar with and well known. I mean, Roger Ebert is, you know, probably the most well known, especially, you know, mainstream wise. So that's always great to see him here on the Twilight time releases. And man, look how I don't know how young she is, but I don't know. I feel like she's too young to be making out with Jason London. Jason London looks so much older to me. I don't know the age differential, but she looks like a baby, and he looks like, you know, I don't know how old, but he looks like he could be in his 20s at that point. I'm sure he's probably, I don't know how old he is, but it looks a little off-putting, honestly. From on there, not so much, but on the back, it's off-putting to me, anyways. I don't know if it's Lolita-esque or what, but I guess in certain shots she looks older, but I don't know. That's a little weird for me, but there you go. I'm curious I'm gonna look into that and see, but another interesting looking release with some really well-known people in there. Reese Witherspoon's acting debut right there. I really like Reese Witherspoon. She's been around for a long time. One of my favorite, she was in a Freeway with Kiefer Sutherland, which is such a crazy, awesome movie, but it needs a Blu-ray release as well. But I also really liked Overnight Delivery with Reese Witherspoon, Paul Rudd, a few other well-known people in that one. But it's basically the same premise as Road Trip. Road Trip kind of like ripped off Overnight Delivery, except Road Trip was more over-the-top comedic. You know, the one with Tom Green and Breckin Meyer and that whole crew, Stifler, Sean William Scott. But Overnight Delivery kind of relied more on the romance side, although it was very comedic as well. And I love the chemistry between Paul Rudd and Reese Witherspoon. I would highly recommend Overnight Delivery and Freeway. So I'd love to see maybe Twilight time picking those up. Next up is The Hospital, and this is billed as a dark comedy. and it has George C. Scott as the head of medicine in the Manhattan Teaching Hospital, and he was gonna commit suicide, but he's interrupted by this seductive young woman played by Diana Rigg, and she's the daughter of a crazed patient, and basically she gives him something to live for, and they're trying to get to the bottom of these sudden deaths at the medical institution. Definitely a big fan of George C. Scott's. Let me know your favorite George C. Scott performance or movie. There's a ton to choose from. If you're a horror fan, maybe The Changeling, which The Changeling I'm surprised doesn't have a Blu-ray release too. I remember watching that once. I know everybody loves it. I wasn't blown away by it. The red bouncing ball, the ending was good, but I felt like the pacing was a little too drawn out and dramatic at times, and there really wasn't any scares for me. The ball bouncing down, I wanted a little bit more from it, but I do want to revisit it, and it is super popular, so I'm surprised it doesn't have a Blu-ray release. I feel like even though I'm not necessarily a big fan of it, everybody else is, so it makes sense for it to have a Blu-ray release. But I don't know if who has the rights for that one, but again, that would be right up the alley for Twilight Time. A whole bunch of other companies could be I can't remember. I don't know if it was. I don't want to speculate on who has the rights. I think I know, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, I would love to see anybody put that out for horror fans in general. More horror Blu-ray titles, the better, because that would also prompt other companies to start releasing them too, to seeing if they're doing well. But this looks very interesting and intriguing, and that is right there, kind of almost One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest-esque with that kind of reminiscence. But again, I love the booklets, and the interior artwork too. I dig it. Disc artwork. I love when companies do that. It's rewarding for fans and collectors. Next up is My Cousin Rachel, which I saw the recent remake with Rachel Weisz, which I really enjoyed the heck out of it, so I really wanted to check this one out. Same premise, where it's set on, this one is set in the Cornish coast. Richard Burton is in here in his first American role, but he's torn between dark suspicion and uncontrollable passion for his guardian's widow. And yeah, I love I wonder how it was a shot-for-shot remake for the recent one, but I really enjoyed the recent one with Rachel Weisz. So yeah, I just remember it being really kind of torrid, seductive, great cinematography in that one. So I'm hoping for similar here. So definitely looking forward to checking this one out. And the lead actress looks stunning in here. There's so many films that are remakes that I think people aren't aware are actual remakes. And again, you've got the booklet, interior artwork. So definitely looking forward to checking this one out, because I was a big fan of the recent remake. Next up is September, which is another Woody Allen movie. This is from '87. It's a tale of yearning, artsy, upper crust, neurotic characters, coupling and uncoupling. Nearly every Woody Allen, no, I'm just kidding, but a lot of Woody Allen movies. This has Diane Wiest, Mia Farrow, Sam Waterston. Sam Waterston was in, what other one was he in here? The Man on the Moon. So good to see him in more films. Definitely a great actor. And I want to say, yeah, this is also cinematographer Carlo De Palma, which he's worked with a bunch, but he also worked with in Husbands and Wives. So great cinematographer. So it's just they're uncoupling and coupling during a fall gathering at a Vermont estate. So looking forward to checking it out. A lot of these, it's hard to kind of sometimes separate the directors, actors, and all that kind of stuff from their work. Like Polanski, Woody Allen as well. But I do enjoy a lot of his work. And I'm a big fan of Jeepers Creepers, but what Victor Salva did, he went to jail for it. But for me, it's an unforgivable thing. I was a fan of Jeepers Creepers before I knew about it. It's crazy to me that he still had a career after what he did and serving the time and everything like that. It's just shocking to me. But I guess there's I was younger, I didn't really know there was a whole dark, seedy Hollywood underbelly But yeah, again, it's sometimes hard to separate. I know for some people more so, but I do like a lot of these ones. I was fans of, Woody Allen's work before. I was fans of Jeepers Creepers before, knowing all this stuff. So yeah, it's definitely a shame that one person, like we saw with Roseanne recently, it was a super popular comeback show, and her craziness just ruined it for everybody. And she's been crazy like that for a while. I think she sincerely has mental health issues. And it seemed like the more popular her show was, the crazier she got. Um, it's just a shame that one person can ruin it. Sometimes there's hundreds to thousands of people involved with putting together a TV show or a movie, and one person can just ruin it for everybody, and costing people years of work and money, and it's crazy to me. But I digress. The Long Hot Summer with Joanne Woodward and Paul Newman, and this one sounds again. Paul Newman's amazing. Let me know your favorite Paul Newman movie. So many great choices to choose from there too, and he gave back a lot. So really good person as well. And this has Orson Welles in here. He is I guess the father figure. Joanne Woodward is the daughter, and then you've got a bunch of other. Angela Lansbury's in here too. Lee Remick is the sexed up daughter-in-law, and Angela Lansbury is the long-suffering mistress. And so basically, Paul Newman is a drifter, and he kind of goes into this, drops in this wealthy family, I guess takes him in sort of from the synopsis I'm going on in the back, and they already have, this is a stew pot of lust, rivalry, and dysfunction, so he just kind of adds to it. But yeah, Paul Newman in anything, I'll check it out. Amazing actor. Right there, again, you've got the booklet, the disc artwork, interior artwork. I definitely, again, I love the releases from Twilight Time. Such a great company out there releasing Blu-rays. Next up is one that I've seen. It's been a long time. I remember being super cheesy, ridiculous. If you like seeing Joe Pesci getting pissed off and annoyed, and just the funny interaction between different characters as well. It's a dark comedy. It's basically I think he's a hitman. He's trying to get back this duffel bag full of severed heads, and there's a mix-up, and somebody else gets the bag. Christy Swanson's in here, George Hamilton, Diane Cannon, Andy Como was, I think, the guy that ended up getting the bag, and I don't know what else he's really done. And then you got David Spade, of course, too. But yeah, I just remember being crazy and ridiculous and entertaining. It's cheesy, but it's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember enjoying the heck out of it. It was from 97. And here we go. Man, this is one that's, sometimes they'll put out ones that, some really classy stuff, and then they'll put out ones like that. You can kind of get the gist of the movie just from that shot right there. But I dig it. Again, cheesy, entertaining, crazy, fun. Yeah, so they'll put out ones like some classy stuff, and then they'll put out ones like this, and I appreciate the diversity and eclectic mix of titles that Twilight Time puts out. Next up is State Fair. This is actually a remake from Rodgers and Hammerstein's 1945 musical movie. This one's from '62, and one of the things that drew me to this one were the people in here, the actors. You've got Pat Boone, Anne Margaret, Bobby Darin, Alice Faye. So some really some good singers, actors, and so it's obviously there's going to be a musical in here. So it's a pair of innocent Texas country mice who find complicated romance. So yeah, it seems like it's going to be a romance thing, and I'm not the biggest musical fan. Let me know what your favorite musical is. I always like Singing in the Rain. That was one, for whatever reason, I just kind of appreciated that one more so, but I'm not the biggest musical fan. But I really liked the cast in here, and yeah, I'm going to give this one a shot. And admittedly, this was kind of one where even the cover, sometimes if it's a cover or tagline or something, it'll be almost kind of like an impulse buy, different actors that you like or directors. But the cover to me just seemed really cool too. And then once I found out who was in it, I saw the cover and it drew my attention. Then I looked more into it, the cast, and I was like, yeah, I'll definitely check that out. There we go. You got the booklet again, and Looks like it's going to be some romance and dancing and music, and I dig it. I love that that's the classic old school, almost like a beach boogie kind of vibe going on to it, but obviously they're not on the beach in this one, it doesn't look like. But again, I dig a lot of times when they show old school like 60s and stuff like that, those kind of films where they show the how life was back then. I appreciate that. Next up is Peyton Place. I don't think I ever saw this one, but I know of it, and I believe I've seen clips of it over the years. This is from 1957, and I guess it's about the sordid life of a small New England town, and it's given they said the high glass Hollywood treatment here. It has Lana Turner, and I guess she was going. It says on here that she was suffering with her own real life melodrama. I'm not really familiar there, but you also have Diane Farsi and Hope Lang, Lee Phillips, Russ Tamblyn. So it looks like it's going to be a lot of drama in a small New England town, which I dig when it's New England towns as well. So I'm looking forward to checking this one. I've seen clips of this one, but I've never seen the actual film. And there we go. The booklets, disc artwork, interior artwork. Oh, I love those like small, like Main Street shots. I see them in a ton of movies. I was watching something recently where I had the same thing, and I dig it. Ah, man, that is just awesome. Just how different life was. And there's still a few small towns out there like there with those main streets, but I just love that. The world is so overpopulated and busy now. Everybody's in a rush to see something like that. I always dig that in movies. This is one that I've seen. It's been a while. It's Wild Bill with Jeff Bridges, Ellen Barkin. This is directed by the great Walter Hill. And it's basically about his last days and just him going through life and being haunted by different things. David Arquette is somebody who is trying to kill Wild Bill. And then he also is dealing with Diane Lane, an old flame. John Hurt is in here too. And Ellen Barkin plays Calamity Jane. And he's in Deadwood with her. And Wild Bill Hickok, played by Jeff Bridges. So Jeff Bridges is a great actor. Let me know what your favorite Jeff Bridges movie is. So that's actually a really hard one. He's been around for a long time. Big Lebowski, it's hard to go wrong there. That's like one of my favorites. But he's been in so many great films. So again, this is one that I remember seeing a long time ago and enjoying. This is from '95, and again, interior artwork, booklet, all that good stuff. Shootouts, all kinds of history of one of the most well-known Western characters, icons. So yeah, I'm excited to revisit this one. It's been a long time. And then next up is The Pirates of Blood River, which is a Hammer release, and it has Christopher Lee, who is a French captain, Captain LaRoche. And who else? Oliver Reed's in here, Glenn Corbett, Michael Ripper, Peter Arne. And so I guess it's just a swashbuckling tale. And Kerwin Matthews is the guy that's the outcast, and he's picked up by this band of pirates. So I'm looking forward to Christopher Lee. Let me know what your favorite Christopher Lee movie is. That looks awesome to me right there. I love that shot on the booklet. That again, if that was like the cover, I'd actually prefer the cover, but I guess this is probably more fitting. But that to me would be like an Insta, probably blind, pickup. Like that would be impulse right there. But again, the booklets, disc artwork, interior artwork. I dig the heck out of these the releases. They do such a fantastic job. One of the better companies out there releasing for physical media Blu-rays. And I'm OCD, so I got to make sure that the artwork is perfectly in line right there. Next up is Play Dirty, which I have seen this one, but again, it's been a long time. I know Michael Caine, a few other people are in this one, and it's a 1968 combat film set in North Africa during World War II. The heroes, again, I remember the heroes were kind of unlikable, but there's something about it that one of the things that I remember is like you're still drawn to the characters, even though they weren't necessarily good characters. It says they're vile and unsympathetic loners operating outside the mainstream military. So yeah, but I remember just being drawn into it and being very intrigued. It's been years since I saw this one when I was much younger, and I just remember, I didn't even realize until I forgot about this movie until I saw this, and I was like checking it out, reading about it, and seeing some of the shots of it. I was like, I remember watching that, and I remember really enjoying it. It's been a long time, but looking forward to revisiting this one for sure. Let me know what your favorite Michael Caine movie is. Again, another actor who's just a legend. I wish he could live forever. He's still going strong, and there we go. There's the booklets. And interior artwork. But yeah, again, it's exciting to see a movie that you kind of forgot about and remember enjoying, and then like all of a sudden it brings back that kind of flood of memories. So that's pretty awesome. And next up is the Crimson Kimono. And this is a Samuel Fuller movie. Big fan of Samuel Fuller. Haven't seen this one, but let me know what your favorite Samuel Fuller movie is. For me, it's White Dog. That is one that just blew me away. He has so many great films out there, and it's great to see more of his releases getting picked up. And I think Twilight Time's picked up a few of them. This is about a noirish tale of two Los Angeles cops attempting to solve a murder of a stripper in Little Tokyo. And there's different themes of racism, sexual identity, and I guess there's some romance in here too. And Victoria Shaw, Glenn Corbett, James Shigeta. So yeah, they're just trying to solve it. The two police detectives, and there's a key witness in here. Anything Samuel Fuller, I will check out. And it does sound intriguing. So there we go. There's the booklet, disc artwork. And then once I do view all of these, I'll do proper reviews coming up. And then there's that shot right there. I love some of the shots they choose. I like that they're not just doing the cover art or something like that. That they're actually picking a shot from the films for the interior artwork. So there you go. Those are the 14 pickups. Let me know if you've seen any of these movies. And let me know what your favorite film noir movie is too. And let me know which was your favorite out of all of these from Twilight Time. And let me know what your favorite Twilight Time releases and what you would like to see Twilight Time release in the future. All that good stuff. I ask these questions because I like the interaction. I'm on here, because it's fun to talk movies. And I like the communication, the interaction. So that's why I ask the questions, I dig that. I want to know, even if it's differing opinions from my own. Like, for instance, I said I'm not a big fan of The Changeling, but I know everybody else likes it. And I do want to revisit it to give it another chance. Sometimes your tastes cultivate over the years, so I will do that. But I just remember thinking, I felt like it was just really overhyped. I like George C. Scott's performance, but I just felt like the dramatic pacing didn't work well. There really wasn't any scares. I did like the finale, but yeah, I digress. I just like hearing opinions, even if they're differing from my own. We can all agree or disagree in a civilized manner. Some people, not so much. They haven't learned to do that yet. But that's what makes it fun, though. Not everybody's going to have the same opinion on a movie. And I can appreciate that. And if we all have the same opinion, it would be the same movies released and the same themes and same ideas. So I like that there's diversity out there. But there you go. Let me know all of the things, all of the questions. Leave me some comments down below. Hope everybody's doing well. Take care.